Welcome to AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. You can listen to this podcast every Thursday, new episodes on all of your favorite audio platforms. Mondays, you can watch all of our beautiful faces on our YouTube channel. Will, unfortunately, is a little under the weather, so he's not going to be able to make it today. So, as per usual, whenever something goes wrong and you need people to come in and save the day, we call the referees because that's legitimately something we end up doing at AEW. And I wanted to start off by reminding everyone that this podcast is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2024 Upper Deck AEW. And start your trading card collection today. You can unwrap autograph, memorabilia, or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. And conveniently enough, I pulled these two cards today. Whoa! Which are two of my absolute favorite people. We have referee Bryce Remsburg and referee Mike Posey joining us on the podcast today. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Aubrey. Were you also sucking in your gut when you got those pictures taken, Mike? Because I know I was. I distinctly remember like, oh, this might be in a trade card. I better suck it in. You don't have to do that, do you?
That was my first card. I was excited. So I don't know. Yeah.
Posey doesn't need to suck in his gut at all because Posey's like the most jacked ref we have.
Does your kid have one, Posey?
Yeah, I got him one. I had to order one.
That's awesome.
Oh, I'll give you this one so that you can have one for yourself since you had to get one for your kid.
I will encounter on occasion, I don't know if you have this, Aubrey, as well. People will be like in the parking lots or at the hotel airports and they have like 12 of them somehow. And yes. I don't know how to get them myself, so I will always offer the trade. I will sign 11 of these if I can have the 12th one and like, give it to my family or give it to my son's friends or something, or just keep it for whatever. So that's food for thought, but that's how I acquire all of the trading cards of myself.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's really good because normally when I get one, like I'll give it to my mom and then she laughs at me and goes, "Why are you giving me this?" And I'm like, "Tell me how you really feel."
My in-laws' refrigerator. It's my son's school pictures, or they're like baseball trading cards, and my trading card. They're very proud.
Absolutely incredible. Oh my god, so good.
I have a team from like 2003 or something.
That's cool.
I don't know
and
if
you look exactly the same somehow.
Huh?
And you look exactly the same somehow. Right?
Same head of majestic hair. All right, guys, let's get started. Bryce, welcome back. You were on the podcast a number of years ago. Posey, I think this is your first time on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so very exciting, little fun. We're actually 3 of the referees that are going to Australia coming up. So who all is looking forward to that travel day?
I am looking forward to being in Australia.
Yes.
But I will be honest and tell you that as a member of the travel department, I feel like my Australia trip has already begun. It's pretty much, if I had an Australian nickel even for every time someone said the word Australia on a call or an email or a text message over the past couple of weeks, and the forthcoming couple of weeks as well, I'd have enough Australian nickels to buy a entire farm of kangaroos, I think.
Wonderful. You've already made 20 cents on this call. Posey, what about you? How excited are you?
I have a nighttime flight, so I'm planning on sleeping, hopefully. It leaves at like 9:45, and then by the time I get there, it'll be Friday morning.
Right? Yeah, that's the weirdest thing is that like we're all losing a day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But
it'll be spent watching romantic comedies on American Airlines. And having to trying to defend why you're crying to the lady next to you. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know.
Tell me what you really do on a plane, Bryce.
On the way to Japan, I had all this like intention of doing work, and then I was too excited to work, I guess. I don't know. I did a little bit of work at the airport, and I watched a 4-part Pete Rose documentary, a 3-part Lollapalooza documentary, and the Saturday Night Live movie from last year, the like making of the movie. So. Mm-hmm. And I had a woman next to me who was an elderly Japanese woman who basically sat down on the plane, went to sleep, woke up to eat, ordered one Miller Lite, drank it, went back to sleep, and then woke up when we got to Tokyo. And it was like a 13-hour flight. It was amazing. I still think about her every day. I want to be more like her. And I hope that by some weird happenstance, she's on my Australia flight too.
Yeah, no, that's a good vibe to have. But on that topic,
what's
you just
the
did this.
longest flight you've ever done, Aubrey? What's your longest flight?
The longest one I've ever done is probably the London one. Like London to Seattle is about 9.5 hours.
Okay. Right.
So not too terrible. Posey, what about you?
maybe the last time I did go to Australia in 2008. It was from LA, so it was probably like I don't remember how far.
I think that's about 13 because that's what I've
like
got.
12 or 13 would be my guess.
Yeah, that's
New
wild.
season
That's wild.
actually comes out that weekend.
So
I might figure out a way to watch the whole season.
Just download it. I know a guy. You could probably get it. But on that note, Bryce casually mentioned that he was in Japan, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask about because there was a big weekend. There was Wrestle Kingdom, there was Wrestle Dynasty, large number of shows, but then you also had the chance to work at a number of other Japanese promotions while you were out there. So what was that whole experience like?
It was incredible. It's like in a weird time. It's like right after Christmas, right after World's End. And so it felt like forever away. Then all of a sudden it was very imminent. And this is how my brain works. I was so excited about it. I was trying to minimize my excitement because like, there's no way this can live up to the hype in my mind. But it did. And it was, everyone was, and it is really a testament to the worldwide power of AEW, because, we were met with welcoming arms, both as a member of the AEW office and an AEW referee. Everyone was just completely kind to me. They had a tracksuit they gave me as a gift at New Japan. And, it was, and I came home and I was like trying to think, I was like, that was, one of the best wrestling trips I've ever been on. And then I couldn't think of one better. I was like, oh, maybe that was the best wrestling trip I was ever on.
Yeah.
Stayed a couple extra days, do some other stuff, worked for DDT, Tokyo Joshi Pro, and Choco Pro, which is Emi Sakura's. She kind of runs it in basically an apartment in Tokyo.
Right.
And it is, something that I had seen on YouTube and was very interested in, but the live experience was second to none. And, they took us out to dinner afterwards, and everyone was just, all very, very excited that I was there, and we were there, and AEW was there, and to get to do it with some of the AEW stars, and, walking into the Tokyo Dome and, Kenny Omega being excited that you're going to ref his match. It's just this weird,
wild, right?
Right. Situation I never thought I'd be in when I was watching Kenny Omega at the Tokyo Dome on my phone before AEW even existed. So, just crazy, out of this world, out of this imagination bucket world stuff. And I was treating it like I'll never ever get to go again because it took me 22 and a half years to get there. So I'm no stone left unturned. I was only in the hotel to like do a little bit of work, FaceTime on Wi-Fi, and sleep. But I was just like, I wanted to leave no stone unturned, and had an incredible trip. And I am just about reset from it. Now I'm going to go to Australia in a couple of weeks.
Right. It's really cool.
Did you go to Riviera Steakhouse?
I did go to Riviera Steakhouse. I went with Dustin Rhodes. Doc Sampson, and Masa, who's a local sponsor fellow. He set up the visit. And both of us had our egos checked in different ways. One, we were waiting in line. There was a 25-minute line. It's outside. It's very small. There's like 4 tables inside. It's very small. And Moss went up to the front, like, oh, well, Dustin Rhodes was here. Maybe we could, they're like, yeah, that's the line. Get in the back of the line. I said, okay. And then we got in, and Dustin would laugh at this, I think, if he were here. We had a lovely meal. They took good care of us. They brought Dustin his jacket, and Dustin very kindly said, "This is my friend Bryce. He's a referee for AEW. It's his birthday. Do you have a jacket? Is it possible you get a jacket for him?" And they go, maybe no. I said, okay, that's it. That was it. And it was almost funny to me. I was like, oh, that's it. And I said, that's all. Dustin, you tried. We go back to the hotel. We called it a day. Had a lovely meal. It was great.
You almost want the story more than the jacket. Right. That's pretty dope.
Yep, that's my story. That's all there is to it. Fair enough.
It's pretty incredible. But my favorite part of all of that is I tell you a lot of times, and not enough, that I'm extremely proud of you. But thinking back to that one weekend where you reffed Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan on the Indies, and then seeing now you're in the Tokyo Dome catching Kenny Omega on a dive, to see the growth of you and literally everybody else on our ref team over the last 5, 6, 7 years from where they came from has been absolutely incredible.
Yeah. It can't be, and I think I can speak for all 3 of us and all 7 of us, really. sometimes in like the day-to-day frustrations and getting up for an early flight, and there's, being some hassles and frustrations in the travel from whatever, it is easy to lose sight of the fact that Tony and AEW changed our lives forever and ever and ever. And God forbid an asteroid hits the Earth tomorrow. We have had experiences and the opportunity to have experiences that I, for one, I was on the Indies 17 years. I never ever thought possible. Like every like barometer has been like the bar just keeps raising. I don't know how high it can possibly. Wembley Stadium, Arena Mexico, the Tokyo Dome, all these different states and opportunities, and working with all these Hall of Famers and working with all of you. It's just, I can't, I don't know what's left in it. And I try to use that as a barometer and perspective to when days get a little frustrating and something is not up to snuff. It's not perfect, but nothing is. But, our lives have been changed irreversibly forever. And that is, we are very, very fortunate. And I have gotten to know both of you better, and we're talking about it on a podcast now, so it's not all bad.
Right? It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's AEW. It's a wacky place, and it's easy to get caught up in all the negativity that people talk. You just remember, like, it could be worse, and we could
absolutely,
we could not be there. And like, and one day
I could still be soullessly doing a job I don't really care about when I was thinking about wrestling. Now I get to think about wrestling in my job, and my job is wrestling. Like,
and one day we're going to be able to look back and say that we were there and did, all the ins and outs of it.
Yeah. And for anyone listening to this, this is something that's kind of come has crystallized for me in the last 5 or 6 years. Like, take all the pictures. Hang out and have those extra moments. Go to the after parties. Go to the meet and greets. If you have an opportunity to do something, or do you want to go to Ribera Steakhouse with Dustin Rhodes? Yes, I want to go to Ribera. Let's go. Let's get in the car right now. Like, there are days where you feel tired. There's days where things aren't up to snuff. But when you have the opportunity to do these things, just go do them, because you don't know when they're going to come again, or when you'll be in the situation again. Like, it's just and being in Jacksonville for a year and a half during a global pandemic, not a lot of high spots in that patch of our lives, but socializing on the 4th floor, hanging out at the hotel, getting to know our coworkers better, being made to feel like you're a peer of these millionaire Hall of Famers, which many of them are very, very accommodating. Those are experiences that are not on a upper deck card or on streaming on Max or in a magazine or at a signing or whatever it may be, but those help shape my appreciation and love for this company and this job.
It's so good. Oh man, I feel like we could end the podcast even after that, but we've got so much more to talk about coming up on AEW Unrestricted. We're going to take a quick break and then come back and talk right after this. AEW Unrestricted, Aubrey talking to Bryce and Mike Posey, 2 of the amazing referees on our team at AEW. Posey, this is your first time on the podcast, and I don't think we've heard a lot about your story. Can we hear a little bit about how you came to AEW? Because you've been here since very, very early on.
My first show was Daytona Beach. Was that, I believe it was Fight for the Fallen?
Spider Fest.
Spider Fest, yes. Fight for the Fallen was Jacksonville. And I came in. CD was one of the main guys to help me get in. And I came in to I was going to help with the ring, which is what I think originally a lot of me and Turner and Knox were all going to help kind of be the ring crew. And then when we got there, they kind of already had their own production people to do it. And I was kind of the only one that stayed on the ring crew and stayed to keep doing it. And I'm glad I did. Throughout all ups and downs of wrestling, like being on that's kind of helped. Like, it's always good to have all the jobs, know all the things.
The more hats you wear, the harder it is to get rid of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Things you can do to stay around. And especially during the pandemic, like we were just talking about, that helped me. Give me a reason to be there, yeah. And that, Yeah, I was there. And then I wasn't at the first TV, which was in Washington, I think. I was
Washington, D.C.?
the second episode. I want to say it was in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, maybe.
Boston was second, Philly was third, Pittsburgh was fourth.
Okay.
Bryce has like the first 10 weeks memorized.
Yeah. And ever since that second week, I've been almost every show. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
That helped me too. That gave me another another spot to fill, which was like, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll jump right in. Yeah.
Heck yes. I mean, that's
came along, that helped too. Like, I'll jump right into that too. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Like, it's kind of goes without saying that our team is very good at just jumping in and doing whatever's needed. Like, I think like it's an odd number. So like more than half of the refs on this team have some other job at AEW and do some sort of thing to help our company just function, whether it's show day or behind the scenes or whatever it may be. And it's just, we're a really dependable crew. And I absolutely love it. I tell other people in the office, stories about how we sort of all work as a team. And people are legitimately jealous because our crew is like so tight and so wonderful. And our group chat is so like lovey-dovey and everyone's like caring about each other. It's so good. Oh my God. I love it.
A lot of it, and I will do this so you don't do it for yourself, but a lot of that is on the back of your organizational skills, Aubrey, and we appreciate that. And we probably don't tell you that enough.
Thank you.
Force us to have meetings, force us to have discussions, and documenting it and all being there and spreadsheets and stuff. I have heard, and I'm sure you've heard this as well, other departments have taken your lead and used that for theirs as well, and that deserves to be celebrated as well.
Oh, I know which departments have taken my spreadsheets and used them because
I was going to name names in the podcast. I don't want to shame the unnamed, but yes.
Oh no. And I'm sure that they would gladly give me feedback and credit for all of this stuff. But yes, it's like it's a nice benefit of the previous job coming in and having the ability to do spreadsheets and whatnot. Speaking of which, let's talk about kind of how that whole thing started. Like when we started hearing rumors that this other show was starting up, we sort of had to figure out what is it that we're going to do? How are we going to scale? How are we going to manage ourselves? And one of the things I like about our team is we just said, screw it, we're going to manage ourselves and figure this out. We're not going to wait for anyone else to tell us how to do it. And I feel like we still kind of do that system to this day. Bryce, I remember sitting down in the arena and having the conversation of like, okay, who's on Dynamite? Who's on Collision? Who's willing to be on both? Like, what's the flexibility here? What was sort of that like for you, learning that we had another show and we were going to have to sort of divide and conquer a little bit?
I will, with all due respect to all of the other 6 referees, my first thought was the travel job side, because it was essentially there, in some form or fashion, our work was doubling. Just to put it bluntly, we're going to have twice as many events, and now instead of everyone coming here, we'd figure out who goes where. And it took some time, but we figured out a rhythm. And a lot of it, again, was like you talked about. I'm sure this is true at many jobs. If you are waiting around for guidance, you might find yourself behind the 8 ball. But if you put your heads together and figure it out and just get moving on a plan and be open to, constructive criticism, and if you have to pivot, you'll pivot. But taking the reins and starting to run with the dogs, is kind of what the travel department had to do, and is what the referees had to do. So once that piece was starting to come into vision, and we were able to get some backup on the travel team, one of which is our friend Stefan, who's not with us today, but that was where he came on to the travel
Pivotal.
team when we added Collision.
Pivotal.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it was kind of like, well, yeah, we live in Aubrey and Knox are on the West Coast. Stefan's in the middle. Posey and Brenner are kind of in the Southeast. Me and Paul are kind of in the Northeast. So that helps a lot right there. Like now you can draw up some diagrams and we can find ways to make our lives a little bit easier, make the flights a little bit shorter, and save the company some money. When we're out West, that's usually an Aubrey or Knox production. When we're out in the Northeast, that's usually a Paul or Bryce production, et cetera, et cetera. We figure it out. We make it work. We have enough notice to plan our lives. Posey, I hope you don't mind me saying you have a child. I have 2 children. Paul's got a child, and that is taken into account. Marriages, birthdays, partners events, etc. Because we have a team that is so flexible and communicative, we are often able to work around those. I'd say almost always able to work around those, and that these relationships and our ability to work together as a team did an incredible amount for my anxiety. As far as like being, oh man, am I gonna have to be away from home twice a week? Am I gonna have to do this and this and this? Am I gonna, all these extra things? Knowing that I would get a vote and would be able to have a conversation about when and where I go to work, which I do, we all do, was an incredible boost for my calm and my vibes. And it's been 19 months at this point since Collision started. We did 104 shows last year. I don't think any of us missed a show we were meant to be at. I think we got there and made it happen in every event possible. There have been injuries, there have been snowstorms, etc. But the beat has gone on. We have never left the referee crew underrepresented or underprepared, I feel like. And that speaks to all 7 of us. And again, especially your organizational skills, Aubrey, especially for me. I just find flip that. I can't do it, or I would.
You can't flip the hair.
I can't. On show days, sometimes when there's, a snowstorm or an exceptional amount of travel stuff going on, or a big international trip coming up, I sometimes have to force myself to flip into referee mode. And sometimes it's 7 o'clock or 7:30 or 7:45, or sometimes I change after Dynamite starts. But the reason I have such, I feel okay with that at the end of the day is because I know I'm in good hands. Someone else is going to be there to pick it up if I'm not there, or someone else is going to give me an answer that I need, or someone else is going to tell me, fill me in on something, or somewhere where we have to be at some part of the show. Someone else is always helping carry that bag, and that is incredible for peace of mind and, again, anxiety.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, on that topic, like you mentioned anxiety, like I lost one of my cats on January 1st last year. And I was an actual emotional wreck. And it was the first time I ever called out of a show, like last minute. And quite literally, Paul says, "We got you. We'll make it work." Text Stefan, who's available, and gets on a plane and goes to New Jersey. And it was like, that's such an awesome thing that we can do as a team, that when one of us has something happening in our lives, someone else is willing to fill in, no questions asked. And from that, we've seen a lot of people grow and excel. And one of the things I really love is seeing like the Saturday guys who hold it down. Like you've got Stefan and Posey and Brandon, who are like consistently our Collision guys. And one of the things I've loved is how Posey has sort of become like the king of Ring of Honor, because not only is he essentially a member of MIT doing like Athena and Billy's matches constantly, but also the expert in pure rules. Which is my favorite part, because now it's like when ref assignments happen, it's like, oh, that's a Pure Rules match. Let's give that to Pure Rules expert Mike Posey. Let's just make that happen.
Pure Rules specialist.
There we go. There we go.
I don't know how it happened, but it did. But it's okay. Yeah.
More hats for the security, Mike. You're in good hands.
Right. I don't even think I know the Pure Rules. It's like, no, that's just Posey does that. Like, I don't know.
We were somewhere and I ended up having to do one. It was after a Collision somewhere. I don't remember, Mike, you weren't there, or you were doing something else. And I was like, oh no, I don't know. It made me appreciate you all the more.
So I'm waiting or pitching for them to do a women's Pure Rules match.
Ooh.
But yeah, that'll be, just do all of it at once.
Right? And then Posey's just like, he's just trying to find new opportunities for himself.
Yeah.
We'll need a pure women's title then too.
Yeah, there you go.
Just add another one to the pile.
Be careful what you wish for, bud.
Hangman.
Another Ring of Honor thing I want to bring up is how like crazy dedicated Posey is, because one of my favorite moments watching Ring of Honor was this dog collar match where you have FTR versus the Briscoe brothers and they're going at it. And then suddenly, like, you look and see Mike Posey's on the ground just bleeding. Like, what the hell happened that day, Posey? How did this happen?
I didn't know about it till maybe 2 hours before it happened. Not.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You didn't just find out like as it was happening, like, because wrestling is completely real and it's just got to be in the that's what a referee's job is. Just call it, just see it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it was, and also what made it was one of the Briscoe brothers. Crap, I think it was his last match. Now that we're talking about it,
Jay, yeah.
Yeah. that always made it like I have the shirt hanging in my basement. It's all bloody. Yeah, so I wasn't so
Hell
far away.
yeah.
Yeah, in a frame, and that was Final Battle 2 years ago. Like that was one of my top 5 shows. AEW Ring of Honor, because that was also we're talking about MIT and Athena. That's the same show she won the women's title on. Was the same show that did the dog collar match on. But I mean, it wasn't no thing. It just got it was just a little cut,
Just a little cut
Yeah.
cut that bled like crazy. Posey's got good iron content in his blood. That's what we've learned that day. We will leave the rest to everyone else's imagination. This has been a great conversation so far. We've got a little bit more to talk about. We're going to take another quick break here on AEW Unrestricted. We're having a referee roundtable here on this podcast, and it's excellent. AEW Unrestricted. We've got Bryce Remsburg, Mike Posey, and Aubrey Edwards of the referee team talking about all of the fun things that we do at AEW and just how much we absolutely live our job. Like, obviously, I'm very biased because I'm here doing this podcast and I love all these gentlemen, but I think it's legitimately true. Like, we're not just blowing smoke up every listener's butt. Like, we all love our jobs, and this is absolutely incredible. Like, we legitimately have someone pay us to fly around the world and yell at half-naked men for a living. Half-naked men and women. So, yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah. It will never stop.
Wild.
This will be the 6th year, but it never stops confusing our financial planner and the people that do our taxes. They're like, so your full-time job is professional wrestling referees? Like, yep. And then they always ask, like, how many people have that job? And that always makes me stop and go, oh, there's probably, I don't know, in the United States of America, in the entire country, 300 million people. There are probably, I don't know, 25 or 30. Yeah, at most, people that this is their full-time job. This is how they pay their bills. And like that, it's like, oh, wow, like that's a moment of reflection. That's pretty cool. That's a very special feeling. There aren't too many jobs in the world that there are only 25-ish of, and that's pretty cool.
All right, so I've got a couple cards from Upper Deck, our title sponsor of AEW Unrestricted. And these are all some various talent that I know that you guys are familiar with. So I wanted to kind of show you a card and then get your opinion and maybe tell some stories about every individual. So we're going to start. We touched on this a little bit last segment, but I've got this card for Billy Starks here. Young up-and-comer. I think she's now 19 years old. Was the first ever ROH women's television champion. Posey, you get a chance to work with her a lot. Her and Athena. And what's your favorite part about working with Billy Starks?
So, she's only 19 now, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm literally twice as old as her, if not more.
Your wrestling career is older than her. She was her and Nick Wayne were the first two that were like, oh, I was already refereeing when you were born. I was like, oh no. They also need special travel considerations because not every hotel will allow 18-year-olds to check in without, sometimes you have to have someone sign for them or they don't have a credit card. Certain hotels in certain parts of the country will need a 21-year-old to vouch for them. So that's a fun lesson we learned when Nick travels with his mom a lot. So that's not such a big deal. But Billy, we've needed to send some adults to the counter for her a couple times, but it's okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Mike.
Oh my God.
I started, when I was watching wrestling, like in 2010, one of the first matches I saw was like on SmackDown or something. I was like, you've been doing it already been at 10 years or something. And she's talking about, this is crazy. It makes you feel old.
Right? A little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool seeing that the new generation come up and getting to be a part of them and their careers a little bit. I've got a couple here that I could share, Bryce.
Sorry. When we started, it was like, these are the, Dustin Rhodes and Chris Jericho and Matt and Nick and Kenny and Cody. These are like the upper tier of guys that were like way above anything I ever knew on the indies. And then there was like the tier that I felt I felt on level with. Jungle Boy, Darby, Orange Cassidy, Eddie, of course. That kind of Sammy went in the first year of AEW, Santana and Ortiz, guys that are kind of like they were like kind of in my class of indie, and I like had even Max MJF. Janela crossed them, passed them in the indies a lot. And then now it's like, oh, well, these are the next ones. Like I never even knew them because, I've been in AEW for 5.5 years, but like Top Flight and Action Andretti and Billy and Nick Wayne, obviously, like that crew, it's fun to watch them kind of like figure it out, I guess, both in, conversation and in the ring, and the poise and the, instincts some of them have is absolutely insane. Hook is another one in that bucket. Sorry, I interrupted.
Right. Oh, no, it's all good. But on that topic, one of the guys that's been here since day one, I've got this Jon Moxley card right here.
Oh, yeah.
And I know Bryce has had some recent experiences with him, both recent and not so recent, because I know you worked with the Blackpool Combat Club a lot, and you've also worked with Jon Moxley as he's been in main events with this guy, Orange Cassidy, who's a good friend of yours. Mm-hmm. So what was it like working with both Jon and Orange? Because obviously they have very, very different backgrounds coming into wrestling.
I was on an indie show with Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy in 2006. There was a Jakar show. They were both on the event. And we have talked about that. The three of us have like put that together, that we were all in the same building at the same time at the Hellertown American Legion Hall in July of 2006, which is crazy. But it is remarkable. And I think this is kind of, I'm not sure everybody would understand this, but to me, that's kind of the beauty of wrestling. I would have never been friends with Eddie Kingston if we worked together at 7-Eleven or Starbucks or whatever. Like, we would not have, let me rephrase that. We would not be in each other's lives if it weren't for wrestling. I would not have run into him at a party in college, and I would not have been in his circles of his friends in New York. He would have been in my circles in, suburban Pennsylvania. So wrestling is our through line. Wrestling is our like love language. That's like where we meet. And I think Orange Cassidy, the character and the person, has a version of the way he approaches wrestling, and Jon Moxley, the character and the person, has a different variation of how they look at wrestling, but together, it's kind of beautiful though. Like they found each other's strengths, they found each other's weaknesses, and like those are two people on paper you would not think have great chemistry, but I think they do, and I believe they enjoy wrestling each other deep in their heart of hearts. They might not say it now, and that is kind of the beauty of wrestling. And if you think about it, the only way that they would have truly crossed paths in wrestling, not to say Jon Moxley would have gone out and had a crazy indie run after WWE, very possible he would have done that, but it is a testament to what AEW has done for wrestling to put guys like that in the ring with each other, to put, Orange Cassidy and Eddie Kingston are my go-tos because I have known them forever, but they are not, they wouldn't stick out at a WWE tryout, let's say. But AEW gave them life, gave them a job, gave them a platform, gave them the ability to show the world what they can do and how talented they are. And that in turn puts them in the ring with Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson and all these, and even Nick Wayne and Hook and people like that, like just the melting pot of what AEW is, to look around at catering and see Dean Malenko, 40 years of wrestling experience, Nick Wayne, 19 years of life experience at the same table talking about, you guessed it, pro wrestling. Like, it's kind of beautiful. It's kind of a beautiful thing. There's all walks of life. The 6 degrees of pro wrestling will never not amaze me. Chris Hero helped train me in 2003. Kind of kept in touch, but went our separate ways. And there he is now. Now he will coach matches that I referee with Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley and Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, which were like 2 of my favorite wrestlers in high school. Like, it's crazy. It's just, it's the like, to even like explain to 17-year-old Bryce wearing his Edge and Christian shirt to school that he would referee a match between them in Toronto on national television, international television, really. Like, that couldn't have even, like, there isn't a vision board big enough for that in the year 2000 for my brain. Sorry, again,
wild.
long-winded.
Absolutely wild. All right.
I'm hijacking your time, Aubrey. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's a great story. You're not jacking the time. This is about you guys. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're doing it excellently. All right, I got one more card. I actually want to ask both of you about it. So we'll start with Mike Posey. I have this fun Heroes and Heroines card with Mr. Sting, the legend himself. Posey, did you get a chance to work with Sting when he was at AEW?
So we did that match. It was a tag match at that building. It was Sting and Darby against Ricky Starks and Will.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of that match? It was in some.
It was in a warehouse in Georgia.
In an arena.
Yeah, it was like
right.
It was like a pandemic era cinematic match for Revolution. Maybe not a 2021 pay-per-view.
No, I think it was somewhere around there. But yeah, that was Sting's first match back.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was somewhere in Georgia warehouse. But that was cool.
One of the reasons it was taped is because he didn't feel completely confident in his abilities, which is insane, right? Like that's insane. He's freaking Sting.
Right. And they did one thing, like Darby threw his bat from like 3-story, like, just 3 levels up, and he said, "Just throw it." I didn't think he didn't think he was gonna be able to catch it, and of course he threw it. And he caught it in one shot because he's Sting.
One take.
Yeah.
I was really happy that you got to do that match, Posey. It was freaking great. And like seeing Sting come back and be a part of our company, not knowing like the run he was about to go on. Bryce, do you have any fun stories about Sting?
So I think of Sting whenever like, you catch wind of like someone being a little untoward or a little bit of a jerk to someone in wrestling. I'm not saying anybody that even works with us, but you hear of this sometimes. And I think to myself, like,
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sting has done it all. Any Hall of Fame there could possibly be, he will be in one day if he's not in already 3 times. And if Sting can learn everyone's name and be respectful and be cool and have the time of day for everyone, then why can't you? Like, right? Like, this dude has done it all. He was not a big texter, so I, did his travel for years and was always excited to take care of him, work with him. Very patient, very easygoing guy, never raised his voice once. Please, thank you, all that. So he didn't like to text us, so he would call me a lot, which, sometimes, you with your kids, wherever you stop your day, I was never upset to get a call from Sting. And one time I was at this, like a swap meet place, like an antiques place, like all these different little stalls have all this different, like, kind of like tchotchkes and stuff on the wall. And there's a wrestling themed one by my house. And I was walking by it with my son. I was literally looking at a Sting bendy wrestling figure. And my phone vibrates, and I take out my phone, and it's Sting. And I just, like, hold up the phone next to the rest of me. I was like, this is crazy. I'm in the Matrix right now. And I picked up the phone and, getting to know his family and his sons and, seeing his granddaughter backstage is adorable. Just, like, what a kind, patient man. I hope, even anyone that doesn't have that kind of success, even someone that at his age have the like outlook he has on life. Please, thank you. I'm sorry. You're welcome. Like, those words go a long way, and he has them all the time for everybody. I've seen him talk to Tony Khan the same way he talks to people at hotels and people he talks to at signings. Like, just we could all have if the whole world would be a little more like the Stinger, it would be a better place.
Right?
At Revolution at his last day, I remember being like, take the picture, Bryce. Go and take the picture. And I did. I'm so glad I did. I went over and I told him how much I appreciated him, and he told me how much he appreciated me. Gave me a hug. We took a picture, and like I'll take that with me forever and ever and ever. Sorry.
No, it's so great. I remember like I had set up like my little Instagram post that weekend when it was like his last match. And just seeing the comment from him of like a scorpion and then a little fist bump, I'm like, yeah, no, that's Sting. That's exactly who he is. It's great. There was one time I was backstage and he literally brought his daughter up to me and was like, Aubrey, I want to introduce you to my daughter. And I'm like, you're Sting. Like, one, why is this guy even talking to me? Right. 2, but like, why is he making an effort to do this? Like everything that you're saying, like, please, thank you. All of those go such a long way. Like, I think that's the thing that everybody's talking about Sting almost more than his like in-ring career is just how great of a person he was. Cause he did not owe anybody anything. He could have just been a complete jerk and we all would have understand because he's Sting and he's a legend. But the fact that he went out of his way to be nice is just such a testament to what being a good human being is. And he's an inspiration to all of us, I think.
100%, 1000%.
Yeah. This has been an absolutely incredible episode of AEW Unrestricted. I'm so happy to get a chance to talk to these amazing guys. We'll have to get the rest of the referees on. I've literally been trying to get Paul Turner on this podcast for years. But as you guys probably know, Paul Turner is, he's going to fight it tooth and nail to the very end of time.
Yeah, it is. Sure, I as both working with him in the travel department and the referee squad, the sun rises, the sun sets, and Paul Turner is there. Like he is the most reliable person I've ever met in my entire life. And that is a testament to him. And I understand that he doesn't like these public facing things. I think it makes him feel a little anxious. Maybe, I don't know if you would say that. He doesn't like to be out in front of, these things, but I think that pro wrestling has evolved a lot since he started, which is probably 25 years at this point. There was a school of thought probably when Paul and Knox and me to an extent started, where it was like, oh no, you're this guy, you're in the background, you don't smile, you don't react, and I think that AEW and this team as a whole has made some strides in kind of evolving out of that. I mean, look how much wrestling evolved in the last 25 years. Look how the differences in pro wrestling, that you see on television in the last 25 years. Why can't how a referee acts and conducts themselves evolve as well? And I think a lot of that is you, Aubrey, and a lot of that is us all together. And I know that, the two of us might hear about it online once in a while, but those aren't our bosses and those aren't the people writing the history books.
Once in a while, but those are not the opinion. Those are not the opinions I'm going to let matter in my life. I'm going to let the opinions of my coworkers and my co-referees and my friends and etc. carry more weight, and that's not always easy. But I think that's a testament to our squad as a whole, and when you get out the giant scroll of the way AEW changed pro wrestling, we look back on this. That might be towards the bottom, but it should absolutely be on there, I think. But it's a bullet point. It's definitely a bullet point. There's those moments
you'll
of
sure they're ranked appropriately on the spreadsheet. We'll make sure it's bold and italicized.
I will make sure it's color coded based on priority so that we can reference it and sort it properly in a pivot table later. It's really great. I'm glad you said all of that because there are people that are very critical of referees, especially our crew, quite a bit. But at the end of the day, we get to work with these incredible legends, and we get to work with a guy that changed wrestling, and it's been absolutely incredible and so wonderful. And God, I love getting to work with you guys so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you guys were able to join us on this podcast today and tell us all these amazing stories. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in to AEW Unrestricted. Reminder again, AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph, memorabilia, premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Look at the video episodes to see both representatives of Club Hair and Club Bald from the referee squad. Just go to our AEW Unrestricted podcast channel, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And are you an AEW insider? You can get access to ticket pre-sales, personal merchandise, more straight to your inbox. Sign up today, AEWTIX.com. And don't forget, you can see these gentlemen and more on AEW Dynamite on TBS, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and streaming on Max. You can see AEW Collision, where Posey's holding down the fort, live every Saturday on TNT. You can stream ROH, again, where Posey's holding down the fort. Thursdays on Honor Club. I am Aubrey Edwards, along with my friends, Bryce Remsburg and Mike Posey. Thank you so much for listening to AEW Unrestricted.